Well, this is just insane. This is just insane. So we all knew we don't need our tinfoil hats, ladies and gentlemen, that the Biden administration has created the single greatest racket empire the U.S. Congress has created is non-governmental, government-funded terrorist organizations, NGO, and probably even prior. They had been creating this, and then during the Biden administration, it went plaid. It went plaid on steroids. This is, I saw a TikTok video the other day. I think I had it in one of my videos. It was a blue-haired young woman, attractive, but it made her ugly. She had tattoos all over her neck and piercings on her face, and she could have been a lovely young woman, but she's just ruined herself with this left-wing ideology and just completely made herself hideous. But she's one of the peaceful protesters, basically, and she's on TikTok because she's all about ICE and wants the illegals to stay here. So she rambles on about some nonsense, and then she's like, "Are you mad yet? Are you mad yet? Are you mad yet?" And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm mad. I'm mad at people like you. I'm mad at the government like the Biden administration. I'm mad at the left-wing libtard agenda that's been perpetrated on the American people. I'm mad at the tree huggers, the climate change, which is the most retarded thing that has been perpetrated on the American people, telling us that we have to give up fossil fuels and give up our sovereignty of basically we're just going to have a nation in decline over fossil fuels. You don't see China doing that now, do you? Ruining their economy over climate change. Even Trump said, this is retarded. This is the biggest hoax perpetrated on the American people. Democrat Party. I got a cough. I hate it when that happens. The Democrat Party, through Biden-Harris terrorist administration, bribed $6 billion in America taxpayer money to a network of United Nations agencies and more than 200 NGOs to take down and overthrow the Constitutional Republic of the United States. And no, we don't need a tinfoil hat. Now, everybody else probably used to say, well, this is just a conspiracy, Rashad. No, this is on full display in our faces, and we've been seeing it. And you kept asking yourselves why, at least I did. Why are all these people pouring across the border? Why would our government allow this? And how could any states sustain this? Where would the money come from? You just let a plane load, thousands upon thousands, just drop. The Haitians, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. You just dumped them into a city. What do you do with them? Look what they were doing with all the Mexicans, just dumping them into New York. We saw how that played out. And where did all these billions of dollars come from that New York just magically had to put these people up in a luxurious hotel, third world, low IQ, invaders, and giving them cell phones, and they didn't even want to eat the food. They said a lot of food that was given them to them, they were just throwing it out. They didn't even want the crappy food that the left-wing Democrat Party was giving them. It's insane. And why would they do this? To overthrow the Constitutional Republic of the United States with third world, low IQ invaders so the left could stay in power. And they've been doing this for decades. Dumbing down Americans. I just did a video on it. If you need to go look at it. It's the dumbing down of America, the retardation of America, and how they've accomplished this. Not teaching people history, not teaching them civics, so they grow up. And then you have schools teaching them how to be an activist. You have DEI hires who are just illiterate people. It's insane. It's insane. Mike Howe currently serves as the executive director of the Oversight Project and previously worked at DHS on a Capitol Hill conducting oversight of the immigration matters. The United States of America is still reeling from the worst border invasion in its history. And you wonder, again, why did they do this? Why would they do this to the American people? Why? Let me get situated here. Let me get situated. I'm getting heated. I'm getting heated. Mike Howell, this invasion could not have been accomplished without a colossal partnership with the NGO community. And this has been, it was pure Lex Luthor genius, how they funneled this money for the children, for the elderly, for the autism, artistic people. It's pure evil genius how they pulled this off. Simply put, the government just did not have the capacity to get this many people in and around the country without the support of the nonprofits. So, ladies and gentlemen, in other words, your own taxpayer money, and the federal government money, and for the cities, like, these other cities across the country, with the state's resources, along with government resources, which is all the taxpayers' money, paid for our own demise and destruction. Just let that sink in. Let that sink in. Are you mad yet? Are you mad yet? Are you mad yet? I should clip her and just her going like this. Are you mad yet? Are you mad yet? Yeah, I've been mad. And at the end, they gave almost $6 billion to a conglomerate of UN agencies and over 200 NGOs to do just that. I'd say screw the UN. The Oversight Project has led the way in exposing what I call the broader industrial complex. We did a first of its kind study where we tracked illegal aliens by their cell phones. Hey, Obama phones. They were all Obama phones. Aliens by their cell phones as they went through these nonprofits at the border. So they were going to the border. They were getting instructions on what to do. In just 1 month period, tracking 30,000 devices in a very small subset of the 10 million that Biden had crossed the border. Oh, I just get mad. We found that the illegals went to nearly every single congressional district in the United States. We proved that every town was indeed a border town. Now, we all know Biden and them hurried up. They got all these stupid judges, black robe, tyrannical, inferior judges who should not be judges and do need to be impeached. We need to clean some serious house in the United States and get rid of these judges who and Biden, all of them waving a magic wand to say, oh, yeah, we just made them all legal. We just gave them all amnesty. The UN should be defunded and designated a terrorist organization, as should the 200 NGOs involved, as well as every single Biden cabinet member and tried in a military tribune for attempting to take down the U.S. government. Now, I was watching my guy, Andrew Blanca, and he was talking about that some of this crime, the fraud in Minnesota, because of the way the law is written, that I don't even know if we're going to see some convictions, or they're going to have to, or either the government says you change the laws or you don't get another red cent. Because apparently, they could just say enrolled children. Now, we're just talking about the daycare ones now, okay? Let's take the daycare fraud. In the document, the law of the document of doing this and receiving the money, right, also through the NGOs and government-funded money from the federal government, dollars, that in the Democrats wrote this. They wrote this provision in there where it's not like the kids have to be there. No, it's just enrolled. So you can have one kid enrolled in like 10 other daycares. They're going to get away with it. So I was like, oh my God, how are we going to overcome this if we're not going to be able to prosecute them on that, because they'd go look at their paperwork and go, oh, well, they have 100 kids enrolled, registered. It doesn't say that they have to be there. It's not saying that they have to sign an in and out sheet and this kind of stuff. But what I would say is that the federal government says you don't get another dime until that's rewritten. That you have to rewrite this law for us to give you funds. And I think that's fair. That they have to have in and out signage, They have to have proof that the kids are coming to these. And why do you need like 20 daycares in one little small area? There's not that many kids. There's just not that many kids.
I now recognize Mr. Mike Howell for 5 minutes for his opening statement.
Members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to testify about the role of NGOs, or non-governmental organizations, in facilitating mass illegal immigration. I currently serve as the executive director of the Oversight Project and previously was at DHS and on Capitol Hill conducting oversight of immigration matters. The United States of America is still reeling from the worst border invasion in its history. This was an invasion that was planned, promoted, encouraged, funded, and sustained by radical elements of the previous administration. But this invasion could not have been accomplished without a colossal partnership with the NGO community. Simply put, the government just did not have the capacity to get this many people in and around the country without the support of the nonprofits. And to that end, they gave them almost $6 billion to a conglomerate of UN agencies and over 200 NGOs to do just that, according to statistics from the Center for Immigration Studies. The result was that Border Patrol became a daycare. They became Uber drivers just to shuttle illegals to the nonprofits to get them around the country. Now, the Oversight Project has led the way in exposing what I call...
And also, all the unaccompanied children, we're still trying to find them. God have mercy. So nobody was overseeing who was just coming up and picking up these illegal children. They're illegally coming into the country, accompanied by nobody. How did that happen? How did that happen? How did these children get on this train or coming across the desert or ever how the hell they were coming across by themselves? And now we don't know where they are. Now we have found some. We still need to find the rest of them. So on top of that, you have human trafficking as well of children. On top of all of this, now I'm really angry about the children. Good God, this is horrific. That's even more horrific than the billions that they've stole from us. I mean, if we're doing a scale, I mean, they're right like this. I mean, come on. Come on.
All this border industrial complex. In December of 2022, we did the first of its kind study where we tracked illegal aliens by their cell phones as they went through these nonprofits at the border. In just a 1 month period, in tracking 30,000 devices, so a very small subset of the 10 million that Biden had crossed the border,
I'd say.
We found out that the illegals went to nearly every single congressional district in the United States. We proved that every town was indeed a border town.
I think they went to I think they were directed to go to certain places in each of these states. If you're saying this has happened in all the United States. I got an oversight here. Howell stated the Biden administration repaid them by driving an estimated $6 billion to a conglomerate of 15 UN agencies and 230 NGOs as recently calculated by the Center for Immigration Studies to do this work for them. He described these funds as supporting services like lodging, legal aid, and transportation for migrants after Border Patrol processing. Farming NGOs as enabling mass migrations. Like you think, okay, people are just pouring across the border with just a bag of clothes. You saw them with just like a Walmart bag or a backpack, this kind of stuff. It's like you've come with nothing. You've come with nothing. Like you didn't come where you had a job lined up. You had some money. You could get an apartment or rent something out. Like things are set up before you go. Wasn't that what most of us do before we move? You got a place to move to. Right? You prepared for it. These people, millions of them, just came with a backpack or a Walmart bag or you'd see him carrying a jug of water. So obviously this had to have been funded somehow, some or another. Sources of the figure. The figure is exaggeration attributed to the Center for Immigration Studies. Okay. I think Tank critical of high immigration levels. No signal official government report confirms an exact $6 billion total specifically for facilitating migration. But the estimate likely combines funding streams across agencies. It's probably more. U.S. contributes to UN agencies primarily via the State Department's Bureau of Population, Refugees, and Migration, and USAID for regional migration responses in Latin America, domestic programs such as shelters, services, and resettlement in the U.S. Oh, yeah. So you've got 10 million people. It's going to cost some serious money. Again, I'll bring up, look at what the scenes we saw in New York. They were all being housed in a hotel. Did they do that to the homeless? The homeless people they already had? The homeless crazy people they have? They didn't give a crap about them. This was an assault to overtake the government, to transform America. Breakdown and related funding streams, partial verified figures from congressional testimonies, reports, and announcements show multi-billion-dollar scales over the period. UN agencies. U.S. funding the UN High Commissioner for Refugees alone was $2.1 billion in 2023, $1.9 billion in 2024, and up from $377 million in 2019, much of it supporting migration assistance in the Western Hemisphere. So, yes, they were in league to destroy us from within. The UN's Regional Refugee Migrant Response Plan, largely U.S.-funded budget, $1.6 billion annually, 2023 to 2025 for aid, cash vouchers, shelter, health, and transit support across Latin America. Yeah, we gave them cars, we gave them phones, we gave them SNAP benefits, we gave them a place to live. Office of Refugee Resettlement funding for unaccompanied migrant children surged. It's unbelievable. Would you send your kid by themselves with a bunch of men? This is absurd. I don't understand it. With the ORA budget rising to $6.3 billion in fiscal year 2023, projected $7.3 billion in fiscal 2024, almost entirely contracted to NGOs for shelter and resettlement. Major NGOs like Southwest Key, Endeavors and Company, and Global Refugee saw combined revenues reach $2 billion in 2022. Endeavors received $1.3 billion in government contracts that year, largely for migrant services. Yeah, you don't see our veterans, our homeless, none of this getting to the American people. I'm so mad. FEMA DHS Shelters and Services Program, hundreds of millions annually. 300 to 380 million rounds in 2024 granted the NGOs and local governments for short-term migrant shelter, food, and transportation after border release. So remember when that big hurricane hit, what was it, in North Carolina? And that FEMA woman, I guess it was in FEMA, she ends up getting fired because there was text messages or a phone call, because there was a whistleblower, said that she told them, the people who have Trump signs in their yard, we're not going to help them. Yep, that happened. That happened. So they don't give a damn about Americans. And especially Christian conservative Americans. Officially, these funds supported humanitarian efforts. Sure they did. Food, medical care, temporary shelter, anti-trafficking for vulnerable migrants. Bullshit. We don't even know. I'm sorry, I cussed. We don't even know where half of those kids still are. In fact, I haven't heard much about it lately. Now, they had found, what, 60, 80,000, maybe close to 100,000. And there were supposedly, I don't know where they get these figures. Like, there was over 300,000 unaccompanied children that they just didn't know where they were. for vulnerable migrants, including transit countries and upon U.S. arrival. Critics in Republican-led hearings, including House, argued the scale and nature of aid, such as cash assistance, route logistics, and post-release transportation, and sensitized or directly facilitated record migration levels. No widespread independent fact checkers directly refute the $6 billion aggregation as implausible, given the documented partial totals exceed several billion, though exact categorization varies by source. Breakdown of this: Trump administration funding, more well, we don't need to know the rest of that. We don't need to know the rest of that. But this is insane. I believe it. I believe it. Now, Grok was saying, well, it could be exaggerated, but no. I think it's probably under exaggerated. I think between the fraud, that it's gonna whop in the trillions. We haven't even begun to scratch the surface of this. And the impact of the illegals coming in, the third world, low IQ invaders that Biden administration let them in. Let them in. And then in turn, already they had a plan set up. Think about it. They had a plan already set up in place. So when they were opened up the floodgates and let all these people pour in, had them in planes out of Afghanistan, dumping them in. They had already had a plan set up with the NGOs. And they had already had the plan set in with all the daycares and all of this stuff. It's just another front to siphon money through. It was just another way to siphon through this money. And it wasn't just the daycares. It was share riding, Medicaid, housing for adults, artistic adults, this kind of thing, autism. I mean, it's on a scale that's beyond the pale, beyond. Check out Matt Walsh. He did a video I watched. It was either yesterday or the day before, linking Blue Cross Blue Shield, ladies and gentlemen. Now, these insurance companies also profited from the Medicaid fraud. Go check that out, because that's a whole show. That's a whole show. But go check out Matt Walsh talking about Blue Cross Blue Shield, that they knew about this. They knew about this. They were getting this money for services rendered, like you saw those in Nick Shirley's video, the home health care programs. You had like 14 of them in one building. Like they all had different names. It was retarded. Like, why would you be in the same building with your competitors? And then they have all this thing where these people are getting medical service and going through, and these medical services, they would go through the insurance companies. So they're getting money too. So that's a whole nother show. But anyway, I hope you're as angry as I am about this. Yeah. I think we need to do away with the UN. And this, again, this is just every day there's something else. It's just something else that it's the left Democrats who have done this to us, to destroy us from within. Wake up. Wake up.